Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Fire alarm alert, fire alarm alert. Okay, just saying. It must be the first Tuesday of the month, and must be Susan on the other end. Suze!
Sorry. Hang on.
Oh, okay. Suze! Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
I can hear you.
I can hear you. I believe last time you were here, we had a very truncated little visit, and
then you hung up on everybody.
I did. I must admit I had
You threw a little tantrum.
I had a little diva-ish snit fit. But guess what happened?
They fixed everything.
Yes.
Sometimes it takes a diva.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it takes a diva. Here it goes.
And let's just get feminist about this. All of your quiet little, this isn't working. I mean, could
Yes,
you please come
please.
down here and get me an engineer? Oh, sorry, excuse me, please. And then nothing. So what you have to do is go, okay, screw you all. I'm hanging up and I'm quitting. Oh, let us fix that for you.
It's funny. I was reading. I don't know where it was this weekend. Is it over yet?
No.
Oh.
Is what over? Oh,
The fire alarm.
First Tuesday.
Yeah.
God, there's one every other week.
I know. It's so true. I was reading a story about a transsexual. This is a professor. Maybe you saw it in the Wall Street Journal. I think it was. An academic. This is a long-standing. This man, this woman now, and she pointed out how she was at a conference of fellow whatever she is, scientist, intellect, whatever she is, and there was conversation going on and how she was saying something about, well, I really believe in blah, blah, blah. And none of the guys picked up on it. And then one of the guys said essentially what she had said.
Thing.
And everybody said, that is real. You know what? You're on to something there. And she said, I finally felt like I was really a woman.
Right.
Yeah, because she'd known the other side. She'd been a man who before would have been listened to.
Yep. So, was she pleased, or
she was actually
feel like she made it and lost it all at once?
No, she was bemused. I think. The way she's telling the story, she's bemused. She was an interesting person. Now that I'm remembering it a little bit better. She had been the captain of her high school football team, extremely popular, alpha male, married, children, and when she made the transition, things did not fall apart. She had a relatively, it's amazing. She just had so much support all the way through, and I think she was, she wasn't a recent person, but she's got a real sense of humor about the whole thing, amazingly. And even when she went to her high school reunion, can you imagine? The captain of the football team turns up, and he's a she, and as far as she could tell, nobody in the class had any problem with it either.
Well,
I'm sure she was the
that's the proper way to
right.
be. When you show up at your class reunion with a husband or a wife, they don't think that it's their place to say I like them or I don't like them or I approve or they don't approve. It just is.
But it's true that she would have. I'm sure she was the biggest topic of conversation.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, but.
And
times are better, and at least they did it behind her back.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm so excited I can hear you without straining, without trying to push my eardrum out of my ear.
Well,
which is how I used to feel.
Thank the snit fit. Truly. I know I got so many emails from audience members who were really upset that
I could hear you. What did you say?
Because the weird thing, Susan, is last Tuesday they were hearing
just fine.
Fine. Yeah.
Right.
Right. So I'm glad to see that this DA in Cincinnati said bringing charges against this woman whose kid got into the gorilla is he said
stop it.
He said she was being attentive to her children by all witness accounts. If anyone doesn't believe a 3-year-old can scamper off very quickly, they've never had kids.
You know what I find interesting is that the fence around that exhibit was 3 feet shorter than, or a foot shorter than around their other exhibits.
Well, how is that? How odd.
I don't know, but they're raising it. I mean, one of the reports they said is they're raising it, X number of inches to make it the same as other exhibits in the thing. They must have thought that they didn't need as high a fence because they had the moat. But why do you want a kid falling into a moat, which is exactly what happened?
Yeah. A moat that is accessible to the gorilla,
right.
Obviously.
And the one thing we do know about 3-year-olds is they can climb because that's how they mastered getting out of their cribs.
Exactly right. They're little climbers. That's right. So anyway, I also want to say that this mother who was the target of the internet mob, just subjected to, and as was her husband, who wasn't even there. The whole family vilified, and
she's being extraordinarily gracious.
Exactly. I cannot believe she has never lost her cool. She has done everything that shows that she is a sort of an exemplary human being. Right. She has no intention of suing the zoo. Some people who were sympathetic to her sent her money initially, and she sent it. She said, "I do not want this. If you want to in any way send money, please send it to the zoo in Harambe's name." Every move that woman made was the right move.
Yeah.
So, to the mob, can you guys just... no, there's no reason to even address
And they aren't all guys.
Well, I use guys... I use guys to mean...
As a generic term, I know.
I do. I saw some article the other day...
To say guys and gals.
Oh, please. Come on, Suze. Back in Green Bay when we always said,
guys.
"Hey, you guys. Hey, you guys."
That was not.
It was not specific at all. We're guys. Everybody was a guy, and now there's some who would you gotta stop using the word guys in the workplace. I saw an article the other day because it is, discriminates against women. And I'm thinking, shut the F up. For God's sake, everybody. Pick your battles.
That's right. What we would like is really to be treated the same, and we don't care a whole lot about what you say.
Jeez. Man alive. So, speaking of
which, we should just at least note that for the first time in the history of the United States, the presumptive nominee is a woman.
Yes. I thought you were going to say is a blatant racist, but I guess that's not the first time.
Well, that's the flip side.
But it's not the first.
I'm hopeful. If he keeps, this thing with the judge is the single most stupid thing that he has yet to do.
Well, that he's doubling down.
And he's doubling down, but that's his character.
So anyone who thinks...
This is my right. I'm in a lawsuit. I can vilify the judge if I want. What's going to happen when he goes back in front of the judge?
Listen to this. He calls, there's a conference call the other day in which he just lashed his people for not standing firm with this. And here is a quote, because two of them talked to the media. "We will overcome." Do you believe now we will overcome? We shall overcome. I can see the Donald right. We will overcome, and I've always won, and I'm going to continue to win, and that's the way it is. This guy is deranged.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
so
I know it and you know it, but there's still an awful lot. Let me, for example, because I wintered in Green Bay, and I wintered in California, and one of the things that our mother and I did was play bridge. I had to join the National Bridge Association such that I had a number so that they could score me. Okay, so now I get the Bridge magazine. And what does it say on the front? They're doing a great big benefit for Alzheimer's. And the name of it is Trump Alzheimer's. Now, I get that it's a bridge pun.
Oh, yeah, because it's a part of bidding in the Trump,
but
no
they
Trump.
had to mean the other thing.
No. Do
And
you think?
or even if they didn't, they shouldn't have done it.
Well,
Because
but
I looked at the magazine, I didn't even want to pick it up.
Yeah, but wait a minute. I'm angry at Donald Trump for a lot of things, but one is taking a really good word for which there are not a lot of good synonyms
and
out of
making it unusable.
Well, I still use it. I mean, you got to, trumping something is just
But now, if you get trumped, to me, it would mean that it's got a new meaning, which is not only did you get bested, but you got bested by basically an asshole.
I'm taking I will not let him take that word.
Okay.
I just won't.
I'm just telling you that in my own brain, the way it works is that now the association is there. And it took me a good long time, just like it did you, to catch the bridge reference, which is as obvious as it could be.
Well, but to the audience, to the niche that magazine was going to, it would not have taken them any time.
I don't know. I mean, I play a lot of bridge.
Yeah, but you're a newbie.
Yeah.
You're a newbie.
Well, it's not where I went first, I'll tell you that much.
So, I mean, okay, so I'm worried, actually, that since the actual convention is how many weeks away?
Yeah, it's too far away for this to have a lasting effect.
No, that's not my concern. My concern is that the party is that
They'll figure out a way to bring in someone else.
He's not going to end up being the nominee. That's my concern.
Well, if it saves the country...
No, but I mean, but if they find somebody else, that person might be
Ted Cruz. I mean, there's got to be someone...
No, but what if they put up John Kasich? Then... Well, that's true. All of Trump's vote. I don't know. But I mean, you can see like Lindsey Graham. Did he end up? He did end up tepidly saying he'll vote for him. I think, didn't he? You can correct me if I'm wrong.
It's extremely tepid.
Okay, but now he
is Paul Ryan's
right. But
and the next day they're yelling at him again.
But Graham has now said with the judge thing, he's called on Republicans who have endorsed Trump. That this is a really good moment to rethink and maybe rescind. And Lindsey Graham said, "This is the most un-American thing from a politician since Joe McCarthy. If anybody was looking for an off-ramp, this is probably it. There will come a time when the love of country will trump hatred of Hillary."
Well, or we'll have the first libertarian president.
Well, that ain't gonna happen.
Well, but it's gonna affect. It's gonna affect like Nader affected, because there's so many people that won't be able to bring themselves to vote for Hillary, and they'll think, oh, okay, well, I'm not voting for Trump. I'm not voting for her, and I'm still voting, and it's going to be enough to just screw everything up. I just can't find a way that I can make myself comfortable with any of this.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Suze, the story I really want to delve into is the Stanford rape case. Now, I, this morning, read the entire statement.
Letter?
Oh.
Both letters.
I read her letter.
Yeah.
That she read in open court to him. Wow.
It's incredible. I mean, what a powerful piece of writing.
Would it drive everybody? I'm not going to read the whole thing, but
it's 13 pages long. Yes, you may.
No, I'm not going to read 13 pages, but I'm going to.
You may read.
Well, for those of you, and I haven't because I wasn't able to highlight. There might be some.
Explain the case.
Okay, so this is. There was a rape committed by, and he's been found guilty of it, a 20-year-old
Olympic hopeful.
Former Stanford, he's former because the university threw him out, former Stanford swimmer who at a frat party, he was a freshman. He was 19 at the time. She was 22 or 3.
Yeah, she was there with her
sister, younger sister, right. So she drank way too much, doesn't remember anything, and was saved by 2 Swedish guys who were bicycling by and saw the assault, saw a man on top of a half-naked woman, and were so appalled that they, apparently, one of the guys was really traumatized by what he saw. The guys who came upon the assault.
Well, it was about as brutal as you could get. I mean, it wasn't just him raping her physically, himself. Right. He was using objects and stuff.
Okay, so he is convicted, and the judge sentences him. He could have gotten, 15 years?
Something like that. 20, I think.
Okay, the judge sentenced him to 6 months in the county jail because, according to the judge, a longer sentence would have, quote, a severe impact on him. So the woman he raped stood up in court and addressed this letter to him because, I think, and to the judge. I think she wanted
No, I think that was presented to the judge before he ruled, because these are statements designed to influence the judge.
You're kidding.
No, she gave it to him before, as did the father.
Really?
Yeah. This is a victim statement.
I don't know.
I don't think I'm wrong about that.
All right.
Doesn't she mention the lightness of the sentencing?
Yeah, I thought she was also responding to, she wanted the judge to know that you want a severe impact. Here's the severe impact. It's on me.
Well, maybe.
I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. But what a whoa.
Well, and the important words from the father's statement, which as otherwise as a father's statement would be, how sorry his son is, and how wonderful a man he was, and how he's totally changed, and blah 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 blah. And then what he says is, a big punishment would be a terrible thing for 20 years of life to lose for 20 minutes of action. So he calls the rape, characterizes the rape and that activity as, let's go get some action, as action. 20 minutes of action.
How long does it take to shoot a bullet that kills somebody? That's a millisecond of action.
Well, it just shows you how this man views the corpus of the victim. And it's just that she's a rag doll. She has no bearing in this at all. As a matter of fact, she was rather inconvenient of her to get them caught. I mean, that's the father's attitude. And it's so appalling to me.
The father is clueless too, which is so he raised a clueless kid.
No, but this is a group of this is sort of a national thing that my child is wonderful and can do no wrong and should bear no consequences, and it's not a singular sort of thing. I mean, this is exactly what you're seeing in the schools and the universities and the, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So this judge is up for re-election, and I got a feeling he might not get re-elected.
Well, I hope not. Don't
He's
know
gonna
his
see.
name.
He's going to see some, shall we say, consequences.
I remember his name, and I wouldn't vote for him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem with these voters, the votes for judges, is that nobody knows who any of them are.
Yeah, but in that California, they'll know. This is getting a lot more attention.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Now they'll know.
They'll know. So anyway, this woman stood up in front of her rapist and said, "You don't know me, but you've been inside me. And that's why we're here today." So as Susan said, she had gone with her sister to this frat party. And here's what she then said. I'm just going to read some of this.
Right.
The next thing I remember, I was in a gurney in a hallway. I had dried blood and bandages on the backs of my hands and elbow. I thought maybe I'd fallen and was in the administration office on campus. I was very calm and wondering where my sister was. A deputy explained I had been assaulted. I still remained calm, assured he was speaking to the wrong person. I knew no one at this party. When I was finally allowed to use the restroom, I pulled down the hospital pants they had given me, went to pull down my underwear, and felt nothing. I still remember the feeling of my hands touching my skin and grabbing nothing. I looked down, and there was nothing. The thin piece of fabric, the only thing between my vagina and anything else, was missing, and everything inside me was silenced. I still don't have words for that feeling. In order to keep breathing, I thought maybe the policemen used scissors to cut them off for evidence. Then fallen from a room with a blanket wrapped around me, pine needles trailing behind me. I left a little pile in every room I sat in. I was asked to sign papers that said rape victim, and I thought something has really happened. My clothes were confiscated, and I stood naked while the nurses held a ruler to various abrasions on my body and photographed them. The three of us worked to comb the pine needles out of my hair, 6 hands filling one paper bag. To calm me down, they said, "It's just the flora and fauna, flora and fauna." I had multiple swabs inserted into my vagina and anus, needles for shots, pills, had a Nikon pointed right into my spread legs. I had long pointed beaks inside me, and I had my vagina smeared with cold blue paint to check for abrasions. After a few hours of this, they let me shower. I stood there examining my body beneath the stream of water and decided I don't want my body anymore. I was terrified of it. I didn't know what had been in it, if it had been contaminated, who had touched it. I wanted to take off my body like a jacket and leave it at the hospital with everything else. On that morning, all that I was told was that I had been found behind a dumpster, potentially penetrated by a stranger, and that now I should get retested for HIV because results don't always show up immediately. But for now, I should go home and get back to my normal life. Okay, I'm going to jump ahead into something. It took her a while to even, she went home and never told her parents. There was no, I mean, it's like, one day I was at work, scrolling through the news on my phone and came across an article. This is hard to believe. An article. In it, I read and learned for the first time about how I was found unconscious, with my hair disheveled, my necklace wrapped around my neck, bra pulled out of my dress pulled off over my shoulders and pulled up above my waist, that I was butt naked all the way down to my boots, legs spread apart, and had been penetrated by a foreign object by someone I did not recognize. This was how I learned what happened to me, sitting at my desk, reading the news. at work. I could not digest or accept any of the information. I could not imagine my family having to read about this. I kept reading, and in the next paragraph, I read something that I will never forgive. I read that according to him, I liked it. I liked it. Again, I do not have words. I don't know. Where should we go here? It's just when the detective asked how we ended up behind the dumpster, he said he didn't know. He admitted to kissing other girls at the party, one of whom was my own sister who pushed him away. He admitted to wanting to hook up with someone. I was the wounded antelope of the herd, apparently, completely alone and vulnerable, physically unable to fend for myself, and he chose me. Sometimes I think if I hadn't gone to the party, then this never would have happened. But then I realized it would have happened, just to somebody else. I think that is one powerful statement right there.
Yeah. Keep reading. The sad part about this is that this is part of campus culture at this point, and we are raising a group of young men that don't understand the concept of rape. I mean, this is a microcosm of Bill Cosby, who simply seemed to not understand that giving women a drug to knock them out and then having sex with them was somehow rape.
Right. Because they didn't.
As if coming into touching, arm's distance of a man somehow gives him consent.
Right.
But we're doing something wrong if we are not teaching our sons that, no, this is wrong. If a woman is unconscious, she's not yours for the taking.
She talks about the article again. She said in the article she's reading, she was found breathing, unresponsive, curled in a fetal position. And by the way, he's really good at swimming. Throw in my mile time if that's what we're doing. I'm good at cooking. Put that in there too.
Right. Poor swimmer lost his chance at the Olympics. That's their reality.
Right.
And that rag doll over there, she's messing up our lives.
Then, okay, and really, she takes us through this from, if you've never understood, I think she has done such a service.
A brilliant piece of writing, what happens to a rape.
Here is a rape victim. Okay, yeah. So, and she was drunk. It doesn't remember things.
That's just
she said,
what?
Yeah, right. So, she said, I've thought there's no way this is going to trial. There were witnesses. There was dirt in my body. He ran, but he was caught. He's going to settle, formally apologize, and we'll both move on. Instead, I was told he hired a powerful attorney, expert witnesses, private detectives, who were going to try and find details about my personal life to use against me. That he was going.
That's how
that always happens.
That's how you defend against rape. You say that the victim was not a victim at all, was a harlot, was promiscuous, was always sleeping around, and this is a natural consequence.
And this is why women. This is why women don't report rape.
That's right.
So,
because they're going to be raped 2, 3, 4 more times.
I was not only told that I was assaulted, I was told that because I couldn't remember, I technically could not prove it was unwanted.
Excuse me?
That's
and
that
excuse me. That's wrong.
And that distorted me, damaged me, almost broke me. It is the saddest type of confusion to be told I was assaulted blatantly out in the open, but we don't know if it counts. I had to fight for an entire year to make it clear that there was something wrong here. When I was told to be prepared in case we didn't win, I said, I can't prepare for that. No one can talk me out of the hurt he caused me. Worst of all, I was warned, because he now knows you don't remember, that he's going to get to write the script.
Right.
He can say whatever he wants and no one can contest it. I had no power, no voice. I was defenseless. My memory loss would be used against me. His attorney constantly reminded the jury the only one we can believe is Brock, because she doesn't remember. Instead of taking time to heal, I was taking time to recall the night in excruciating detail in order to prepare for the attorney's questions that would be invasive, aggressive, designed to steer me off course, to contradict myself. Instead of his attorney saying, "Did you notice any abrasions?" he said, "You didn't notice any abrasions, right?" This was a game of strategy, as if I could be tricked out of my own worth. The sexual assault had been so clear, but instead here I was at the trial answering questions like, and then she just, from the transcript, here's the questions that came at her. How old are you? How much do you weigh? What did you eat that day? Well, what did you have for dinner? Who made dinner? Did you drink with dinner? No, not even water? When did you drink? How much did you drink? What container did you drink out of? Who gave you the drink? How much do you usually drink? Who dropped you off at this party? At what time? But where exactly? What were you wearing? Why were you going to this party? What do you do when you are you sure you did that? But what time did you do that? What does this text mean? Why were you texting? Why did you urinate? Where did you urinate? With whom? And it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. Can you imagine? Are you sexually active with your boyfriend? When did you start dating? Would you ever cheat? Do you have a history of cheating? What do you mean when you said you wanted to reward him? Do you remember what time you woke up? Were you wearing your cardigan? What color was your cardigan? Do you remember any more from that night? No? Okay, well, we'll let Brock fill it in. That's from the transcript. I was pummeled, she says, with narrowed, pointed questions that dissected my personal life, love life, past life, family life. Inane questions, accumulating trivial details to try and find an excuse for this guy who had me half naked before even bothering to ask my name. After a physical assault, I was assaulted again with questions designed to attack me, to say, see, her facts don't line up. She's out of her mind. She's practically an alcoholic. She probably wanted to hook up. He's like an athlete, right? They were both drunk, whatever. The hospital stuff she remembers is after the fact. Why take it into account? Brock has a lot at stake here. He's having a really hard time now.
Well, here's the good news.
Yeah.
The jury found the right way.
Yes.
And may we begin to live in a time when those kind of questions from the defense attorney trigger in a jury just an automatic, I see what you're doing, and if I'm going to assume that, I'm not going to assume that she isn't a victim any more than I'm going to assume that he is guilty, and you can't do that.
Can I read a little more or not?
Please do. It's heartbreaking.
So she gets to his testimony. He said he had asked me if I wanted to dance. Apparently, I said yes. He'd asked if I wanted to go to his dorm. Apparently, I said yes. Then he asked if he could finger me, and I said yes. Most guys don't ask, can I finger you? Usually there's a natural progression of things, unfolding consensually. But apparently, I granted full permission. He's in the clear. Even in his story, I only said a total of 3 words. Yes, 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 before he had me half naked on the ground. Future reference, if you are confused about whether a girl can consent, see if she can speak an entire sentence. You couldn't even do that. Just one coherent string of words. This is common sense, human decency. According to him, the only reason we were on the ground was because I fell down. Note, if a girl falls down, help her get back up. If she is too drunk to even walk and falls down, do not mount her, hump her, take off her underwear, and insert your hand inside her vagina. If a girl falls down, help her up. If she is wearing a cardigan over her dress, don't take it off so that you can touch her breasts. Maybe she's cold. Maybe that's why she wore the cardigan. Next in the story, 2 Swedes on bicycles approached, and you ran. When they tackled you, why didn't you say, stop, everything's okay, go ask her? Why did you say, everything's okay, go ask her, she's right over there, she'll tell you? I mean, you had just asked me for my consent. I was awake, right? When the police arrived and interviewed the evil Swede who tackled you, he was crying so hard he couldn't speak because of what he'd seen.
Yeah, the way a real man would.
You said you would have stopped and gotten help. You say that, but I want you to explain how you would have helped me step by step. Walk me through this. I want to know if those evil Swedes had not found me, how the night would have played out. I'm asking you, would you have pulled my underwear back on over my boots, untangled the necklace wrapped around my neck, closed my legs, covered me, picked the pine needles from my hair, asked if the abrasions on my neck and bottom hurt? Would you then go find a friend and say, will you help me get her somewhere warm and soft? I don't sleep when I think about the way it could have gone if the 2 guys had never come. What would have happened to me? That's what you'll never have a good answer for. That's what you can't explain even after a year. And on top of this, you claim I orgasmed. After 1 minute of digital penetration. Okay.
By the way, as if that implies consent.
I know.
I mean, there's everything so wrong about all of this.
But this is how rape trials play out.
The Swedes.
God bless those 2.
Did they come back? They must have come back to testify.
I guess.
Good for them.
And then she says to the guy who's got...
Then we have witnesses.
Yes. She says, you are guilty. 12 jurors convicted you guilty of 3 felony counts beyond a reasonable doubt. That is 12 votes per count, 36 yeses confirming guilt. That's 100% unanimous guilt. And I thought, finally, it's over. Finally, he will own up to what he did. Truly apologize. We will both move on and get better. And then I read your statement. You said being drunk, he's talking, now this is from his statement, being drunk, I just couldn't make the best decisions. And neither could she. And she says to that, alcohol is not an excuse. Is it a factor? Yes, but alcohol was not the one who stripped me, fingered me, had my head dragging against the ground with me almost fully naked. Having too much to drink was an amateur mistake that I admit to, but it was not criminal. Everyone in this room has had a night where they have regretted drinking too much, or knows someone close to them who has had a night where they have regretted drinking too much. Regretting drinking is not the same as regretting sexual assault. We were both drunk. The difference is I did not take off your pants and underwear, touch you inappropriately, and run away. That's the difference. Let me see. You said you are in the process of establishing a program for high school and college students in which you speak about your experience, to speak out against the college campus drinking culture and the sexual promiscuity that goes along with that. And here's what she says to that. Campus drinking culture. That's what we're speaking out against? You think that's what I've spent the past year fighting for? Not awareness about campus sexual assault? Campus drinking culture? Down with Jack Daniels, down with Sky Vodka. If you want talk to people about drinking, go to an AA meeting. You realize having a drinking problem is different than drinking and then forcefully trying to have sex with someone. Show men how to respect women, not how to drink less. Drinking culture and the sexual promiscuity that goes along with it goes along with that like a side effect, like fries on the side of your order. Where does promiscuity even come into play? I don't see headlines that read, Brock Turner guilty of drinking too much, and the sexual promiscuity that goes along with it. Rest assured, if you fail to fix the topic of your talk, I will follow you to every school you go to and give a follow-up presentation.
Go, honey, haunt him.
God, she's
Just
something.
haunt him.
Boy, she's something.
She's really something.
Yeah.
Yes, she really is.
Lastly, you said, I want to show people that one night of drinking can ruin a life.
He so clearly doesn't. It
Doesn't get it at all.
About him.
No, I know. So here's what she says to that. A life, one life, yours. You forgot about mine. Let me rephrase for you. I want to show people that one night of drinking can ruin two lives. You and me. You are the cause. I am the effect. You have dragged me through this hell with you, dipped me back into that night again and again. You knocked down both our towers. I collapsed at the same time you did. If you think I was spared, came out unscathed, that today I ride off into the sunset while you suffer the greatest blow, you are mistaken. Nobody wins. We have all been devastated. We have all been trying to find some meaning in all this suffering. Your damage was concrete. You were stripped of titles, of degrees, of enrollment. My damage was internal, unseen. I carry it with me. You took away my worth, my privacy, my energy, my time, my safety, my intimacy, my confidence, my voice, until today. See, one thing we have in common is that we were both unable to get up in the morning. I am no stranger to suffering. You made me a victim. In newspapers, my name was Unconscious Intoxicated Woman. 10 syllables, nothing more than that. For a while, I believed that was all I was. I had to force myself to relearn my real name, my identity, to relearn that this is not all that I am not just a drunk victim at a frat party found behind a dumpster, while you are the all-American swimmer at a top university, innocent until proven guilty with so much at stake. I am a human being who has been irreversibly hurt, my life put on hold for over a year, waiting to figure out if I was worth something. You cannot give me back the life I had before that night. While you worry about your shattered reputation, I refrigerated spoons every night so that when I woke up and my eyes were puffy from crying, I would hold the spoons to my eyes to lessen the swelling so that I could see. I showed up an hour late to work every morning, excused myself to cry in the stairwells. I can tell you all the best places in that building to cry where no one can hear you. The pain became so bad that I had to explain the private details to my boss to let her know why I was leaving. I needed time because continuing day to day was not possible. I used my savings to go as far away as I could be. I did not return to work full time, as I know I'd have to take weeks off in the future for the trial. My life was put on hold for over a year. I can't sleep alone at night without having a light on like a 5-year-old. I used to pride myself on my independence. Now I'm afraid to go on walks in the evening, to attend social events with drinking among friends. I have become a little barnacle, always needing to be at someone's side, to have my boyfriend standing next to me, sleeping beside me, protecting me. It is embarrassing how feeble I feel, how timidly I move through life. I would think that this statement might go a long way to curing that sense of helplessness that she...
Powerlessness.
Yeah.
One of the anchors on CNN read the whole thing.
Oh, really? Read the whole thing?
Yep.
Wow. Her younger sister felt so guilty because her younger sister...
I've been wondering about her sister,
and
how responsible she must be.
Yes, and she said, when I see my younger sister hurting, when she is unable to keep up in school, when she is deprived of joy, when she's not sleeping, when she's crying so hard on the phone she's barely breathing, telling me over and over again she's sorry for leaving me alone that night, sorry, when she feels more guilt than you, then I do not forgive you. You should have never done this to me. Secondly, you should have never made me fight so long to tell you. You should have never done this to me. But here we...
Because he didn't just do it once. He did it over and over and over again to save himself.
Right. But here we are. Here we are. The damage is done. No one can undo it. And now we both have a choice. We can let this destroy us. I can remain angry and hurt, and you can be in denial. Or we can face it head on. I accept the pain, you accept the punishment, and we move on. Your life is not over. You have decades of years ahead to rewrite your story. The world is huge. It is so much bigger than Palo Alto and Stanford, and you will make a space for yourself in it. But right now, you do not get to shrug your shoulders and be confused anymore. You do not get to pretend that there were no red flags. You have been convicted of violating me intentionally, forcibly, sexually, with malicious intent, and all you can admit to is consuming alcohol? Do not talk about the sad way your life was upturned because alcohol made you do bad things. Figure out how to take responsibility. And now to address the sentencing.
Okay, what is she?
When I read the probation officer's report, I was in disbelief, consumed by anger. My statements have been slimmed down to distortion and taken out of context. I fought hard during this trial and will not have the outcome minimized by a probation officer who attempted to evaluate my current state and my wishes in a 15-minute conversation, the majority of which was spent answering questions I had about the legal system. The context is also important. Brock had yet to issue a statement, and I had not read his remarks. I told the probation officer I don't want Brock to rot in prison. I did not say he does not deserve to be behind bars. The probation officer's recommendation of a year or less in county jail is a soft time out, a mockery of the seriousness of his assaults, an insult to me and all women. It gives the message that a stranger can be inside you without consent, and he will receive less than what has been defined as the minimum sentence. Probation should be denied. I also told the probation officer that what I truly wanted was for Brock to get it, to understand. Unfortunately, after reading the defendant's report, I am severely disappointed and feel that he has failed to exhibit remorse or responsibility. I fully respected his right to trial, but even after 12 jurors unanimously convicted him guilty of all 3 felonies, all he has admitted to doing is drinking. The probation officer factored in that the defendant is youthful and has no prior convictions. In my opinion, he's old enough to know what he did was wrong.
Or every adolescent young man would be out marauding and raping.
Yeah.
This is a character issue.
As this is a first offense, I can see where leniency would beckon. On the other hand, as a society, we cannot forgive everyone's first sexual assault. It doesn't make sense. The seriousness of rape has to be communicated clearly. We should not create a culture that suggests we learn that rape is wrong through trial and error. The consequences of sexual assault needs to be severe enough that people feel enough fear to exercise good judgment even if they're drunk. The probation officer weighed the fact that Brock had surrendered a hard-earned swimming scholarship. How fast Brock swims does not lessen the severity of what happened to me, and should not lessen the severity of his punishment. If a first-time offender from an underprivileged background was accused of 3 felonies and displayed no accountability for his actions other than drinking, what would his sentence be? The fact that Brock was an athlete at a private university should not be seen as an entitlement to leniency, but as an opportunity to send a message that sexual assault against the law is against the law regardless of social class. The probation officer has stated that this case, when compared to other crimes of similar nature, may be considered less serious due to the defendant's level of intoxication. It felt serious to me. That's all I'm going to say. What has he done to demonstrate that he deserves a break? He has only apologized for drinking and has yet to define what he did to me as sexual assault. He has re-victimized me continually, relentlessly. He has been found guilty of 3 serious felonies, and it is time for him to accept the consequences of his action. He will not be quietly excused. He is a lifetime sex registrant. That doesn't expire. Just like what he did to me doesn't expire. Doesn't just go away after a set number of years. It stays with me. It's part of me. It has forever changed the way I carry myself, the way I live the rest of my life. To conclude, I want to say thank you. To everyone from the intern who made me oatmeal when I woke up in the hospital that morning, to the deputy who waited beside me, to the nurses who calmed me, to the detective who listened to me and never judged me, to my advocates who stood unwaveringly beside me, to my therapist who taught me to find courage in vulnerability, to my boss for being kind and understanding, to my incredible parents who teach me how to turn pain into strength, to my grandma who snuck chocolate into the courtroom throughout this, my friends to remind me how to be happy, to my boyfriend who is patient and loving, to my unconquerable sister, who is the other half of my heart. Thank you to everyone involved in the trial for their time and attention. Thank you, girls across the nation that wrote cards to my DA to give to me. Most importantly, thank you to the 2 men who saved me, who I have yet to meet. I sleep with 2 bicycles that I drew taped above my bed to remind myself there are heroes in this story, that we are looking out for one another. To have known all of these people, to have felt their protection and love is something I will never forget. And finally, to girls everywhere, I am with you. On the nights when you feel alone, I am with you. When people doubt or dismiss you, I am with you. I fought every day for you. So never stop fighting. I believe you. As the author Anne Lamott once wrote, lighthouses don't go running all over an island looking for boats to save. They just stand there shining. Although I can't save every boat, I hope that by speaking today you absorbed a small amount of light, a small knowing that you can't be silenced, a small satisfaction that justice was served, a small assurance that we are getting somewhere, and a big, big knowing that you are important, unquestionably. You are untouchable, you are beautiful, you are to be valued, respected, undeniably, every minute of every day. You are powerful, and nobody can take that away from you. To girls everywhere, I am with you. Thank you.
Makes me cry.
What a remarkable woman. Susan, this sounds like it was before the judge.
No, of course. Yeah, I'm telling you what it was written. It's a.
How could the judge listen to that?
Designed to state her case before the judge before he renders sentence, and that's why people are so angry.
How?
I mean, aside from the fact that they're angry, if they read her statement and realize what he did anyway, that he went, no, he's a good swimmer from a good home. That's because that's what he said.
Joe Ellen writes, what I have learned is I would never report a rape. This woman is a hero.
Yeah.
If I were she now, I would learn all I could about cyber law, and then I would hound that bastard, his family, and the judge until the end of time. Well, no, she needs to go. No, that would be giving him too much power. As for the Swedes, I bet they agree that we live in the greatest country in the history of the world. Ray writes, Lynn, is this little prick, if this little prick came upon an accident scene where a woman was obviously injured and disoriented, would he think it was okay to ask for consent? The narcissistic obsession among the young men of privilege is obscene and leads to obscenity, and it is fostered by the adults in their lives. There should be a criminal charge designed for the unrepentant.
Well, usually it's taken into consideration in sentencing. You hear that all the time.
Right, a lack of
the
remorse.
sentence would have been less, but you absolutely seem not to understand that what you did was wrong. Therefore, it's more.
Right.
In this case, they just bought it. He wouldn't have done it. Boys will be boys. This is a total boys will be boys sentence.
Yeah.
And boys will be boys if they have no character and their parents don't teach them that raping is wrong. I mean, honestly, I know a lot of young men, and in my life, and some of them drink, and I don't know that they, as a consequence of their drinking, went out and raped women. There's got to be something that makes you go there, or that stops you from going there.
Right. Exactly. I think it's called character.
It's called character, and that goes to the way his parents have probably raised him. Unless he's just a sociopath, and I don't get the sense that he is.
No, he's just a spoiled brat.
He's just a spoiled, entitled brat who has never had to face any consequence for anything in his life because mommy and dad, because in this case, daddy will go in and say, "Oh, you didn't mean it."
This is like another something, not quite as, like the affluenza,
And it's exactly, this is an affluenza sentence. You betcha. That's what it is.
Well, I think this judge is going to be toast.
Well, this is when you wish that the prosecution could appeal a sentence,
Yeah, well, they can't. Dorothea writes, I have to tell you I had to tune out because I just couldn't listen to that rape story anymore. Being the mother of daughters, I don't want to visualize what she is describing. It's a strong story, but I'm too weak to hear it. But thank you for bringing it to light. Huh. Well,
I understand that response, except that I don't think that it helps
not to
your daughters.
No, right.
I think that what the victim is saying is that we all have to be strong, and we all have to stand up, and we all have to be there for each other. And that takes a little intestinal fortitude.
Yeah. She is now 23 years old. So she would have been, 22 when it happened, and he was 19. He's now 20, she's 23. Pretty remarkable woman. Wow.
Well, I hope she gets some good treatment for her post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure she. I mean, you can tell how strong she is that she wrote this remarkable
I actually
indictment.
think the two things are very separate, and the fact that she could write that remarkable thing does not say anything about how she's coping with her day-to-day life, other than it screams pain.
Yeah. Right. Well, thank you for letting me. I did not read it all.
I consider it. That's like, if ever there were a time when something deserves to be read and shared and passed on, and read and shared and passed on, it's a statement like that.
Right.
To remind us that we as parents have a job to do. We as fellow citizens have a job to do. We as judges have a job to do. These are real people with real lives.
Yeah. Suze, as usual, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. You have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
I'm
going to
gonna
go put my head in the toilet. Okay, goodbye.
Oh, God. Goodbye, Suze.
Bye.
Goodbye to all of you. I didn't even say anything about the game last night. I was so excited by that game that I did not sleep. I could not turn my head off. I was spinning around in the bed. I cannot believe this team is going to bring another Stanley Cup. This team. I thought they were going to end up in the basement this year. Unbelievable. Go Pens. I love it. Anyway, enjoy this beautiful day.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.